Okay, welcome back to Dictate Boxing. It's been a little while again, but I did film my fight reaction for Derek Chisora versus Deontay Wilder, obviously at the O2 Arena last weekend. I got to the O2 Arena at around 4:30 and I left at around 12:30, so it was a very, very busy evening. But I think the fight kind of delivered. Well, it delivered some moments of entertainment, didn't it? No, I filmed my reaction afterwards outside without a mic, and when I went to edit it, the audio was absolutely cooked by the wind, so I couldn't post it up. So I'm going to slightly talk about it as quick as I can now before I get into the big one, which is obviously this weekend, Tyson Fury returning to fight Arslanbek Makhmudov at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, live on Netflix. Obviously, Conor Benn will also be on the card against Regis Prograis, as well as the likes of Fraser Clark, who will be fighting Justice Hooney. Jimmy TKV versus Richard Riakporte on the card as well. So a very, very interesting card. But yeah, I'm going to get back to last weekend. I know it's very late, but I need to talk about it. I need to give my views on that fight. Look, going into the fight, I felt like Derek was going to win that fight. And I kind of feel like most people did as well. And we could have only gone off what we had seen in recent performances, especially from Deontay Wilder. Obviously, the Joseph Parker and Zhilei Zhang results and performances, you know, they're naturally going to be fresh in the mind. And look, I don't think just because he won that fight via split decision means that he's now back at the top of the game. I don't think so at all. I think, if anything, it completely proved that he should not be anywhere near the likes of Alexander Usyk, Fabio Wardley, despite him even coming out afterwards and saying that he would like them fights. Certainly not. Not for me, anyway. Split decision. Was it that close? I don't think so. Derek tried his best, landed some good shots. I think that shows a lot about Deontay Wilder's chin. You know, all the doubts around his chin. He got hit flush with some heavy shots from Derek Chisora. And I think that sort of goes both ways. Derek Chisora ate quite a lot of heavy right hands from Deontay Wilder. So, I mean, you can look at it from the point of view of, oh, Derek's got a really good chin. But for me, you know, you look back and you've seen him get knocked out before. I mean, Dillian Whyte knocked him out. And we know how much of a devastating puncher Deontay Wilder used to be. I know they say this narrative of the power is the last thing to go, but I don't really think that's the case here with Deontay Wilder. I do think he's lost power. You know, this fight in particular, he wasn't necessarily gun shy. He was throwing that right hand a lot and he was landing a lot. I think he did show very good punch resistance, and, you know, the question marks around his chin have kind of been answered. You know, Derek's not a soft puncher, and he landed flush a couple of times. It was scrappy, it was messy. You know, there was a lot of clinching. They nearly went over the ropes a lot of times, and the ref was absolutely abysmal on the night. We should not be seeing him referee a fight of that magnitude ever again. Look, we didn't get the fairy tale ending for Derek Chisora that we probably all wanted, but Derek Chisora has given us so much. I think even in that fight, he showed really good glimpses. And I think not every fight has to be world level, elite, world class fights, do they? I think sometimes fans just want to see two big heavyweights go in there and smack shit out of each other. And I think that's exactly what they done. So I came away from that fight kind of feeling like I was very satisfied with what I got. In regards to what's next, Derek certainly, I'm really hoping he doesn't do a U-turn on this retirement thing. I think he's given us way more than what he needed to. He's been in some tough wars. Deontay Wilder, I don't think he showed us enough to say, oh, I should be fighting the winner of Fabio Wardley, Daniel Dubois. I know he said that. I don't think we should be seeing that. Moses Itauma, from Wilder's point of view, shouldn't be wanting to have that fight. I know he said that he would have that fight. If I'm Itauma, I'm doing it. You know, you want to get someone like a Wilder on your resume, someone from the past generation on your resume. But I do feel like Itauma absolutely runs through him inside 2 rounds. I think the obvious one, and it was the talking point on the night, is Anthony Joshua, isn't it? You know, this is a fight that we've wanted to see for so long. Is it as big as what it could have been 5-6 years ago? No. But I think right now, it does make sense. I mean, considering the context of each of their careers. I mean, considering the context of that night. You know, them two walking past each other a couple of times. I mean, I saw it right in front of my face. And the look that AJ had on his face when Wilder said, let's get it on. I know he didn't respond, but it weren't out of fear. You know, it was a face like, okay, don't disrespect me. And I do feel like that's a fight that could get made. And I think that makes the most sense, doesn't it? How do I think that would go? I do think that Anthony Joshua goes straight through him. I do think he folds him exactly like he folded Francis Ngannou, to be totally honest. He might even do it even worse. And I'm going purely off what I just saw from Wilder against Chisora. I'm certainly not taking that win on paper as an indicator to say Wilder's got a chance against Anthony Joshua. Of course, if he detonates that right hand, he could knock him out, of course. Just don't really see it happening, to be honest. I think performance of the night, though, could have gone to Bentley, could have gone to Matty Harris, could have gone to Vidal Riley. And Vidal Riley, now the European cruiserweight champion, I think now throws him into the conversations for world-level fights. I mean, he could now be going into a potential fight against Chris Smith. If I'm matchmaking for him, that's the one to do. And if you were to look at a world title fight, I think Noel McCallion for the WBC makes absolute sense. And I do think that Vidal Riley has every single potential chance of winning that fight. I do think he's more skillful than McCallion. McCallion is not the best world champion. If you then have a conversation about David Benavidez, Zerdo Ramirez, Jai Opataya, that's, I think, when it kind of becomes a bit too early, in my opinion, but maybe not. I don't know. Vidal Riley is a very skillful fighter, and I think we saw that against a very, very experienced cruiserweight. So, yeah, very happy to see Vidal Riley go in there and shut up a lot of people that keep talking about him just being a misfits fighter and just linking him to the KSI and the Joe Weller fights and the Logan Paul fights. He's not that. He's grown up with a very good amateur pedigree, and he absolutely proved it in that fight on Saturday night. But enough of last week's fights. Let's get into this weekend. Tyson Fury returning to fight Arslanbek Makhmudov. Is this a foregone conclusion? Maybe not, but I feel like it should be. We haven't seen a win from Tyson Fury, I think, since 2023. Who was that against? Francis Ngannou. So can you even count that? I mean, that was a fight he got dropped in. I know the second fight against Alexander Usyk was very close, very competitive. But we haven't seen him win since that Francis Ngannou fight. So a long time, that's 3 years. He's been out of the ring for over a year. So it's not a foregone conclusion that he wins this fight against Makhmudov, who has been more active, obviously, straight off the back of beating Dave Allen. But for me, he weren't that impressive against Dave Allen. I know he got the win, but he didn't look that great for me. And I do think he's plodgy. I do think he's slow. And I do think Tyson Fury will win this fight. I think he'll get a stoppage. Maybe that's just me overlooking Makhmudov. That's maybe me not considering the context that Tyson Fury's not been in the ring for a while. He's going to be past his prime now, isn't he? His feet are going to be a lot slower. We don't know how he's going to look on the scales, or we don't know how he's going to look on the scales as of right now. I'm filming this Thursday night, so by the time you're watching it, you might have already watched the weigh-in. Yeah, I just think he gets the job done. I think Makhmudov is just easy target to hit, to be honest. You know, we've seen him get stopped against Cabial. Again, I'll go back to the Dave Allen fight. Yes, he won it, but it's not like Dave Allen's Tyson Fury, and he didn't look that great against Dave Allen. I just think if Tyson Fury's still got the endurance to, you know, move around that ring and has the legs to move around the ring consistently throughout the entirety of the fight, I think he'll end up breaking him down and getting the knockout. For me, after watching the press conference today, seeing the face-off so far, Makhmudov isn't really bringing any intimidation. It doesn't really seem like he's putting it on Tyson Fury. He's coming with the same energy Dillian Whyte did with Tyson Fury, with this kind of inferior type energy to the big superstar, which is not what you want to see. If you want to go in there and beat Tyson Fury, show a bit of aura. You know, put it on him a bit. Show something about you. Get in his head. But I don't think he's done that, to be honest. You know, Tyson Fury's just having fun with him. You know, he blew a kiss at him at, you know, the first face-off this week. And so, yeah, I don't really see a world in which Makhmudov wins this fight, to be honest. I mean, even if Tyson Fury's dropped off significantly, I think even a lesser Tyson Fury should have enough to beat a Makhmudov. But maybe I'm overlooking him, I don't know. We'll speak about it after the fight. But let's get into the other big fight on the night. Obviously, Conor Benn fighting Regis Prograis. Not at £160, not at £147, but at £150. A 37-year-old Regis Prograis. I think a lot of us would consider Regis Prograis as past it now, really. And at £150. I guess the only thing that Prograis has over Conor is better experience, being a southpaw, and having better names on his resume. But I think apart from that, we all expect Conor to win this fight. And yes, there's a lot of pressure on Conor to win this fight. Getting paid $15 million after all that mess, leaving Eddie Hearn, for Zuffa Boxing and Dana White, all of that. He has to win this fight, and I think he has to win this fight convincingly. I think a lot of us are going to be looking out for how he performs at £150. Is he going to look drained? Is he still going to carry the same ferocity and aggression? We'll have to wait and see. If he doesn't, if he does look drained, if he does gas out, if he doesn't have the legs, if his endurance is not good, if his punch resistance isn't good, if that power's not there, then I think the question marks around being able to get down to 147 pounds are certainly going to be big questions, because being the mandatory for Ryan Garcia's WBC, if you don't look good at 150 pounds against Regis Prograis, then I think most people will not want to see that fight. So a lot of pressure on Conor to win this fight. I do think he'll get the job done. I do think he'll stop Prograis. But for me, that's more on how Prograis is, to be honest. I mean, we all remember our reactions to the news of him fighting Prograis for $15 million, you know, ditching Eddie Hearn Matchroom for Zuffa Boxing. You know, I think most of us are still as baffled as what we were back then. He should win this fight. You know, Prograis not big. You know, he's a small. He was best at 140 pounds, wasn't he? Not even 147 pounds, let alone 150 pounds. Against someone that's just come down from 160 pounds. So yeah, Conor needs to be getting the job done, needs to be stopping him, and I do expect him to do so. The other interesting fight on the card, for me, more so than TKV versus Riakpo, I know that's the one that a lot of people are talking about, but for me, Frazer Clarke versus Justis Huni is a very interesting fight, because I just spoke about pressure on Conor Benn. There's certainly pressure on Frazer Clarke as well. I mean, if he loses this fight, I mean, retirement? No? Can he lose again? It's not like he's a spring chicken anymore, and I do think that he's got a career in punditry and presenting, and he's already done a lot of that. But I think if he loses this fight, I think that's kind of it, isn't it? Justis Huni as well. You know, at his age, really should be winning this fight against a Frazer Clarke who's lost a number of fights now. I think a lot of us go back to how well he performed against Fabio Wardley, but that all eventually meant nothing, because Fabio Wardley absolutely slumped him in that final round, obviously at Portman Road. And look, Frazer Clarke knows all about getting knocked out devastatingly by Fabio Wardley, doesn't he? But look, that is a very interesting fight. I do think Justis Huni will win, though. I just think he's younger, fresher, and I can only go off their most recent performances. Frazer Clarke did not perform well in his last performance, and Justis Huni did. Despite getting knocked out at Portman Road, he did perform really well. I mean, he was outboxing for 12 rounds, or just under the full 12 rounds, against the world champion Fabio Wardley. So yeah, I do expect Justis Huni to get the job done. But again, you never know. This is heavyweight boxing. Look, I'm going to leave it at that. Make sure to go follow Dictate Boxing on all other social media platforms. Links are down below as always. Make sure to like this video. If you're new around here, subscribe to Dictate Boxing, and we will speak very soon.